We are reading Swami Vivekananda's lectures from Colombo to Almora. So after his return from the west, when Swamiji's ship lands in Colombo, from Colombo onwards, Swamiji started delivering talks in response to the addresses of welcome that were given to him. That was so this everywhere that Swamiji landed, Swamiji was given a grand welcome, a very hearty, a very so wherever he went, he used to address the audience, the large number of people who used to be gathered. So he used to address them in response to their love, in response to their gratitude. He used to speak. And here also, now we are reading his lecture at Ramnad. So when he lands in Ramnad from Sri Lanka, and now he was welcomed and given a very hearty and very very touching address by the then Raja of Ramnad. Then Swamiji, who was his disciple also, and who was his promoter also. He only had promoted Swamiji. He only had enthused in him the will to go to the West. He was, in fact, one of those, rather, who had inspired Swamiji to do something for Hinduism, to go to the West and do something, because everywhere this news was going that there will be one Parliament of Religions, and there someone among us needs to go and represent our religion. So then the Swamiji was getting these calls from various people. There was one Pandit from Gujarat. He also told the same thing. Then Mysore, then Ramnath, these various kings also used to tell him that please represent our religion. So when he came back from that triumphant journey of almost 4 years, then he could feel his motherland, the greatness of his motherland, all the more vividly, and that's why everything that he spoke came out of the deepest of his hearts. That we can feel, we can see his every sentence is filled with such a passion, such a love for his motherland. So this is the beauty of these lectures. And they go on telling the greatness of Indian civilization, right from Colombo up to Almora. He goes on telling the greatness of Hinduism, the greatness of Indian civilization, Indian culture, Indian Vedic traditions. And this he is giving, that last time we spoke, as if this is another Bhagavad Gita. This is a new Bhagavad Gita for Indians, because in those times Arjuna was in a different predicament. Arjuna was having different challenge, a similar one, albeit, because Arjuna also facing the same thing, lack of faith in oneself. Arjuna was. Suddenly he lost faith in himself, and suddenly he was confused what to do. I don't believe in myself anymore. I don't believe in my greatness anymore. So what to do now? Please tell me, Sri Krishna. So same thing, exactly here, Indian civilization was in the predicament of Arjuna, similar to Arjuna, that they had lost, because Britishers came, French came, Portuguese came, Mughals came, this came, that came, everybody came and told you are nobodies. And simple people, Hindus, simple, they will believe immediately, because they don't think that the person whom I am confronting, he will have some ulterior motives, he will have some his own selfish things. If they see a person who is behavior, he has a good behavior and good this thing, they will think, he's a good person. They won't know that, no, he may be having some different intentions, different political or geopolitical or some other very dangerous intentions, religious intentions. He may be, might have come here with an intention to force his God upon me, force his religion upon me. That Hindus never had this idea also, because they never, what happens? Hindus themselves never did this. They were never proselytizing people. They never went out conquering people and forcing them to accept their own God. This was never their own temperament. So naturally what happens, whatever is your temperament, if you are a simple, straight going person, you will also think that everybody in the world is like that only. So you want to generally be a doubtful minded, a doubting nature. Because you think, why should I doubt others? I am a pure person, I am a simple person, I have a good intentions. So everybody in the world will have a good intention. But what happened? Because of this, everybody took advantage. And this large majority of this Indian civilization, because of their simplicity, even among themselves, those who were intellectuals, those who were power-mongering people, they also suppressed them. So the majority of Hindu classes, what happened? The Hindus themselves also, among themselves, they suppressed because they took advantage of this simplicity. And those people among them, among the Hindus who wants to rule the civilization, who wants to be a supreme, having the supremacy over them, they also put them down. They also trampled them. So what happens here? There is a inward trampling also. In our own house also, somebody is there who is continuously trampling me, and there is another person who is coming from outside in my house, who is now a new person who has been introduced in my life, who is trampling me. So much going on for centuries. You see, you can imagine what is the condition of our society. And this Swamiji is seeing. This is vivid picture in front of Swamiji. What is this? So that is why he is bashing. That is why he is scolding those people. That those who trampled these simple-minded people, Hindus. For what reason? So this is what his whole goal is now, to make them arise, make them awakened for their lost glory. You are not what you are unnecessarily thinking. You have taken upon yourself this idea which has been put into your brain by somebody else, that you are nobodies, you are hopeless, you are ignorance, you are fools. But he is telling them, no, it is impossible that you are fools. Because if a certain sannyasi with practically a begging bowl, a mendicant, who has no wealth, who has traveled to America, and he has successfully given lectures to preach Hinduism there, not to preach rather, to make the stand of Hinduism clear to the society there, not to proselytize, but he is moving in different cities of America and Europe, and he is being accepted by people there. Every person, every common person, every peasant, every farmer, every cobbler, every laborer, and shopkeeper, and other such simple people also, they knew this. They knew about Swamiji's this success in the West. So Swamiji, when he came back, he saw there is hordes of crowd. There are millions of people who are eager to meet him, eager to take his darshan, eager to touch his feet. They are blocking the train tracks. They are pulling the carriage by themselves. There is so much crowd that sometimes once Swamiji had to stop their lecture because there was so much crowd, thousands of people. So it was making a lot of noise, and there was no this technological advantage. There was no mic that you put more loudspeakers and manage the situation. There is no such thing. Only with this one single throat, he has to manage the whole thing. Thousands of people, he has to go on kind of shouting at his best to reach his voice to them. So this was the time when he has faced all these things. So when he comes, then he tells them. So now he starts this lecture with praising that Raja of Ramna, and he still see that such kind of Rajas are there in our motherland, who has this sensitivity, who had this great acumen that he could understand in me. Swamiji is telling, in a simple person like me, apparently worthless person like me, your Raja has seen a great possibility and a great potential, and he promoted me, and he sent me there. So it is not my success, it is your Raja's success that has today you are seeing. So see, these kinds of great, we can say, traits in this great Swami Vivekananda, that nothing he owns for himself. Whatever success, whatever greatness is there, he is immediately giving and distributing it. And he is himself standing as I am nobody. You see, I'm just a humble servant of your all. So this is his continuous attitude. Though he is being seen and it is proved in his life that he is a superhero in every act of his. But his attitude is that I am just simple, obedient servant of you all. Mat bhakta namche ye bhakta, te me bhaktata. He goes on quoting that I am just a devotee of the devotees of the Lord. So this is his attitude continuously. So he is always praising the Raja only and those people. He is telling that you all people of India, you all Hindus, oh, whatever success I have achieved, it is not my success. And then he tells, then Swamiji says that this is the characteristic of my nation is this transcendentalism, this struggle to go beyond. We went on last time that how he started with the greatness of Hinduism. What are the great traits of Hinduism? So then he told that what are our traits and what were the Western traits. So he goes on comparing, because you see he has to imbibe in the Indian society that there is something that is your very own, that cannot be destroyed, that you accept it. You see, you don't accept somebody else's trait as your own. Whatever your own is there, that nobody can destroy. But if you imbibe somebody else's trait, or if you get impressed by somebody else, oh, that person is very good, let me imbibe, that is his trait, that will be destroyed. If something else happens, some calamity, some change happens in your life, some challenging situation happens, you will forget about that imbibed thing, that imported thing. So again and again, every lecture, he will tell the Indian society, what is your own thing, that you again accept, because you have forgotten it. Something that is which is very own, you have forgotten it, and you have stopped acknowledging it, that yes, this is our, nobody can touch it, nobody can destroy it. So I have come as if one among you, I have come back after the journey to the West, I have come back to tell you what is our own, which cannot be destroyed. And that great trait of ours, let us hold on to it. That what he talked last time, raison d'etre, the reason for existence. What is the reason for existence of Indian civilization? The reason for existence of Indian civilization is religion. The reason for existence of Indian civilization is spirituality. The reason for existence of Indian civilization is transcendentalism. The reason for existence of Indian civilization is to go beyond, this search for going beyond. So this he is telling, whatever you do, you will not be able to renounce it, because this is what you are. This has been thousands and thousands and thousands. Nobody knows how much. He says, he says that the voice is coming from the distant past, which tells us this talking about the Vedic teachings, that it is from the distant. Nobody knows whenceforth the Vedas came. People are still banging their heads. Historians are banging their heads. Academicians are banging their heads. Scholars are banging their heads on each other, struggling to find out the dates of origination of Vedas. Nobody is successful. They will just, those who are having some supremacy over academics circles, they will put their own opinion or findings as the supreme, as true. But it is just a kind of, you accepted opinion, that's all. There is no full and final proven timeline of the origination of these ideas, these great ideas. And that is what Swamiji is telling, that this is where we belong, tell our belonging. When we tell our belonging, we don't tell our belonging to some looter or some dacoit or some pirate of some sea, that we belong to that race. We don't say our allegiance, we don't say our ancestry to some looter or some dacoit or some pirate in the seas. But to whom we say our belonging? To great rishis. Now, those great rishis, nobody knows when they were born, nobody knows when they died, nobody knows when they were, but their works are there everywhere. Their ideas are there everywhere. And they had, not only those ideas are there, but they have been inspiring the Indian civilization for centuries and millenniums and whatnot. So then that is what Swamiji's emphasis on. That you see, you have been telling that you belong to this rishi. You are the son and the daughter, grand lineage of that rishi. That is what you tell. So how can you say today suddenly some European comes and he says, oh, give it up, it is all foolish, what you are doing. And then you take it up. And whatever European idea is there, you take it up. That will be a disaster. That is what Swamiji will tell us now. So we will proceed to that. So previously Swamiji had praised this Hindu, Hindu original traits of Hindus, and then he also had compared them to the Western traits. And then he says, yet perhaps some sort of materialism toned down to our own requirements would be a blessing to many of our brothers who are not yet ripe for the highest truths. So when he told that our Indian civilization is having the spirituality as the only goal and all, but at the same time he sees that because of continuously centuries together having that persuasion for spiritual ideals, what has happened is we have completely lost track of material progress. So Swamiji says, yes, I don't agree with European material idealism, but I think sometimes for some people in India this would do better, because otherwise they are neither materialistic and neither spiritualistic. They are just tamasic, idle, they are doing nothing, just wasting their time and troubling themselves and others both. So for such people, better to give some material idea, something that they can hold on, tangible, which the Western civilization has done. So for such people who are absolutely not fit for higher truths, they cannot hold on to higher ideas of the Vedas. At least for them, I think sometimes these material ideas of the West, that Western this thing has got, probably they will do some good to them. That is what his argument is. Then he says, this is the mistake made in every country and in every society, and it is a greatly regrettable thing that in India, where it was always understood, the same mistake of forcing the highest truths on people who are not ready for them has been made of late. So he says, those people who are not fit for great knowledge, high spiritual truths, if you force it on them, what will happen? They will spoil it. They will totally misuse it. So this lately means what? Swamiji's lately means not 5-10 years. Swamiji says, when he says lately it has happened, means for the last few centuries it has been happening. So what is he saying? That, like Guru Maharaj says, that there is religion cannot be given to empty stomach. You see, that is what. So if you give an empty stomach person, he is hungry, he is sitting there beside the road, and you go and preach him, take this Bhagavad Gita, and you get up like Arjuna, and I will teach you the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, and then you start doing something. So you will not understand anything. That person who is terribly hungry, who is emaciated, he will say, oh sir, please give me some food first. Afterwards I can, when I am doing good, when my health is good, I am fit and healthy, then we can talk about it. So this mistake of forcing the Bhagavad Gita on those people who are completely unfit, who first need physical survival, who are struggling for physical survival, and then we are going and preaching, forcing them to learn Bhagavad Gita first chant the Bhagavad Gita, then only. So then that person we are forcing, and that's why what has happened, that person is going to spoil the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, because he is learning Bhagavad Gita only for the sake of the chapati that he will be giving him, or rice he will be giving. He doesn't care of Bhagavad Gita as such. What he cares about is chapati or rice. So what happens? Then the whole teaching will be spoiled. So Swamiji says, for such people, I feel sometimes, in some cases, this material idealism will be better, because at least I can goad him, I can coax him, I can instigate him to do some material betterment, to do some masonry, some work which can help himself to survive, to stand on his own feet, some skill that I can teach him, such person. Rather than Bhagavad Gita, I will better teach him some skill, something like carpentry or something, so that at least he will be able to survive on himself. Rather than putting him, no, you are an Indian and your ancestors are rishis, and that's why you should not do all these things, you should learn Bhagavad Gita. So this mistake has been done lately, that Swamiji says. Then what he says, my method need not be yours. The sannyasin, as you all know, is the ideal of the Hindu's life. And everyone by our shastras is compelled to give up. Every Hindu who has tasted the fruits of this world must give up in the latter part of his life. And he who does not is not a Hindu and has no more right to call himself a Hindu. So the person who does not follow this brahmacharya, garhastya, vanaprastha and sannyasa, these 4 stages of life, these have been our tradition. So this has been taught to us for centuries that now your final stage, everybody, whoever he may be, he has to take up sannyasa. It means what? He has to renounce. In his final stage of life was compulsorily for everybody that he has to become a sannyasi. So Swamiji says this is the idea of a Hindu, and every Hindu believes in this system that I have to renounce. He's taught like that from his childhood that you see, whatever you do in your life, you may become a king, you may become a great merchant, you may become a successful entrepreneur or employee of a profession or something, whatever you do. But your life must end becoming a sannyasi. That has been taught to every Hindu in India. So every Hindu is prepared. So the kings used to hand over, after the age of 50 or so, they used to hand over great kingdom, the very flourishing kingdom, the very successful kingdom to their children. And they will go. Now what happens? Now we see in this, the coronation happens at the age of 74. Somebody is coronated in some country at the age of 74. So when they are in our India, when they are supposed to be a sannyasi. They are supposed to be moving with a begging bowl. Now in other country, the situation is that at this stage they are being coronated. They are being made kings. So what they are going to do? What kingdom they are going to run at that age? Ripe old age. So this is not the idea of Indians, because this is the time-tested, most ancient civilization. It has seen all those things. It has experimented all this, and they know that such kingdoms will not thrive. So they taught everybody, no, you have done your part, now you renounce. So this was the Hindu way of life. Then Swamiji says, we know that this is the ideal, to give up. After seeing and experiencing the vanity of things, having found out that the heart of the material world is a mere hollow containing only ashes, give it up and go back. The mind is circling forward, as it were, towards the senses, and that mind has to circle backwards. The pravritti has to stop, and the nivritti has to begin. That is the idea. So, when evolution has happened, somebody takes birth, after that he evolves, he becomes a young man, he becomes a middle-aged person, he becomes a successful professional. That evolution happened. Now, as he turns old in his life, then involution should happen. Then nivritti should happen. Pravritti is now over for him. Now evolution is over for him. What should happen now? Involution. Going back, circling back. That is what Swami says. Everything, because everything is in circle. It cannot go just straight line. So you cannot go on evolving eternally. You have to involve. After evolution, involution. Srishti, Sthiti and Pralaya. Pralaya means what? Not destruction, but involution. It goes back to its cause. So the same thing, same pattern has been followed by Hindu life, Hindu way of life. What is that pattern? Is evolution first birth, then evolution, then again involution. First pravritti, then nivritti. First abhyudaya, then nishreyasa. That is what entirely Shastric way of life. First abhyudaya, everybody is being asked, no, don't, at this age don't come to nivritti. At this small age don't come to nishreyasa. First to do something, first enjoy this life. Unless you enjoy, how will you know that enjoyment is futile? Unless enjoying, if somebody puts into your head, forces into your head, no, you better not enjoy, enjoyment is all bad. Then what happens? That hankering will still remain. Because I have never enjoyed, I am still imagining, oh, maybe it was good, maybe I lost it. No, that hankering. But our Hindu way of life, what it is, don't. First enjoy, abhyudaya. Then, after you are full, after your mind says, no, I am full, now I don't want to eat anymore, my stomach is full, then now you better sit aside. Now you leave the food plate. Better to leave, otherwise if you go on eating, what will happen? It will be destruction. So this was the thing. That's why Nachiketa also. Why Nachiketa is given by Yamaraja? Hey Nachiketa, don't ask about knowledge of Brahman. You are a small boy. You see, why you should go for that? You enjoy, I will give you enjoyments. I will give you eternal life. I will give you all the pleasures of life. Somebody has come, such a wonderful, pure boy has come to me, and why should I unnecessarily distract his mind by immediately accepting? Okay, he might have out of curiosity asked, please tell me what will happen after death and all. So let me first check whether his stomach is full, whether his hankering for enjoyment is really gone. Let me first check it. So then he tests it. Okay, why are you asking this thing? I will give you the whole kingdom. I will give you to rule the whole earth for eternity. And this and that and so many things. Then what Nachiketa is telling? Then he says, Shobhava martyasya adantakaita sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha api sarvam jivitam alpameva tavaiva vaha tava nirtikita. He is telling to Yamra that, sir, please, whatever you are telling, whatever you are giving me, it is just till tomorrow it will exist. Shobhava. It is just the existence of all these things that you are giving me. They have the bhava of sure, till tomorrow. So this, what they will do? They will dry up my body. They will dry up my senses, body and mind. They will emaciate my whole organs, and what will happen? I will be thrown aside. By the nature will throw me aside. It will suck away all my blood, all these enjoyments, and they will throw me aside. Now you are not of no use. You cannot do anything now in this world. So you get out. So, but I don't want to be like that. I want to know. So this thing, after his Abhyudayas, this thing is over, this Nishrayasa came out. Okay, that means your Abhyudaya is over. That means you have gone beyond this pravritti. You have already had this pravritti. Now Nivritti should come. You have evolved, Nachiketa. So I can now bet on you that I can give you involution. Evolution is over for you. So this is what the path, Swamiji says. The pravritti has to stop and Nivritti has to begin. That is the ideal. But that ideal can only be realized after a certain amount of experience. That is what we discussed. We cannot teach the child the truth of renunciation. The child is a born optimist. His whole life is in his senses. His whole life is one mass of sense enjoyment. So there are childlike men in every society who require a certain amount of experience, of enjoyment, to see through the vanity of it, and then renunciation will come to them. There has been ample provision made for them in our books. But unfortunately, in later times, there has been a tendency to bind everyone down by the same laws as those by which the sannyasin is bound. And that is a great mistake. But for that, a good deal of the poverty and the misery that you see in India need not have been. So possibly, Swamiji's indication to what post-Buddhist era, what happened? What happened? This because of the complete sway of Buddha's teachings and Buddhism, almost the half of the continent had become renunciates. Almost the majority of the society was carried away by that greatness of Buddha and Buddha idea, and they had become mendicants. Then what happened? In society there were not many people who could protect its best elements. So best of the society, they renounced their life, their regular life, and they took to begging bowl. Now what happens when these best elements, because of Buddha's teaching, thousands and thousands of them, when they took up to this, then this was probably Swami is alluding to that kind of a side effect of them. Then what was the side effect? That there was nobody to protect the country. There was less people to protect the ideals of the society. Less people to protect the wealth of the society. Less people to protect the culture of the society. Because the people who have taken up non-violence, who have taken up life of begging, now the society has to provide for them. Society will have to struggle. Now it is a double burden on the society. That first thing is that there are less people to protect the wealth, to create the wealth, to run the kingdoms, to protect the kingdoms from the onslaught of the invaders. There is that is one burden, and another burden, additional burden, is to make these people survive, to nurture or to feed these people. So Swamiji is telling that this sannyasa ideal should not have been given to everybody. This ideal was there in Hindu society, this is the final ideal. After one has gone through these stages, this was given, but it was not for everybody that no, you just take this up. So what happened post Buddhist era? This everybody, not literally everybody, majority of people, they took it up, and then many things that happened that we know about history. So this he is alluding to. Now what he wants to do is a correction path. Whatever happened is happened. That is history. That some mistake happened in the history. So society made some mistakes. But now we have to correct them. So time to time people came and they corrected it to the extent it was possible. So Swamiji also has come, one of them. Swamiji also is one of them who has come to correct this. Again, bring the society to the main track, main path. So he is telling, a poor man's life is hemmed in and bound down by tremendous spiritual and ethical laws for which he has no use. So now what happened? Because of that, everybody was forced this spiritual ideal. Everybody was forced this sannyas ideal. So a child who was optimistic, who was very much eager to enjoy life, what was he told? Hey, you should not do this. You should not do that. Hey, don't eat that. Don't sit there. Don't wear that. So everywhere he was suppressed. Everywhere he was forced to as if imitate a mendicant, as if imitate a renunciate person, as if imitate a great some monk or somebody. So what happens? Then that child will be suppressed, and his whole possibilities will be suppressed. His abhyudaya will be suppressed. His pravrittis will be suppressed, and he will not be ready for nivritti then. If his evolution is suppressed, or if his evolution is hampered, his involution will also hamper. So Swamiji is telling that a poor man's life is hemmed in and bound down by tremendous spiritual and ethical laws, which if you put so many laws on a person who is trying to raise up, he wants to do something, enterprise, he wants to set up some industry, he wants to set up some factory, he wants to set up some business. Such person who is very much eager to do something and stand on his own feet and prove himself, that person, what your society told, hey, it is not good, that is not good, you should not do this, you should not. So now what happened? That person became totally demoralized. He became completely demoralized because everybody was coming and telling him that this is not good, that is not good. Now what happened? That's why Swamiji says that this paragraph began with this thing, that yet perhaps some sort of materialism toned down to our own requirements. Not as much aggressive materialism like the West, but little, just to allow us to flourish. That was better, Swamiji says. That was probably, he says. Swamiji is also, you see, Swamiji does not want to force anything. Swamiji is just suggesting society. You take up. I am just suggesting you. I am nobody to force you. I am nobody to tell you that this is the only path that is better for everybody. I am not, because you see, these great teachers, and especially Sri Ramakrishna's teaching is, and Sri Krishna's teaching also, na buddhi vedam janayet, ajnanam karma sanginam, joshet sarva karmani vidwan yuktas samachar. So the same eternal laws of the Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita are being followed by Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, every sage and teacher, because they don't force any idea on the society. What they do is, society, I think this will be better. They just suggest it. So Sri Krishna was also suggesting Arjuna, I think it is better for you to fight. It will be better for you. So if you listen to me, it will be better for you. And in the 18th adhyaya, he told, if you want, you can follow whatever I told. But if you don't follow, I am warning you, you will be destroyed. He is not forcing him, you must do it. I am your guru, or I am your this and that, nothing like that. He is just telling, see, I am warning you. If you listen to me, it will do good to you. If you don't listen to me, you will be destroyed. The same way Swamiji is doing. And this is the same, because Swamiji, Swamiji was also very aggressive in his young age. Very aggressive. He used to force others to whatever he believes. Swamiji is a person, he will force others to follow the same thing. But Sri Ramakrishna taught him that no, it should not be done like that. You should not force others to do anything. It is very wrong that you are changing by force. You are changing the very current of some other person's life into your own way of flow, in your own stream. So it cannot be. you are destroying that person. So these kind of some incidents happen in Swamiji's life that taught him, no, I have done a mistake, I will never do it again. So Swamiji is a person who, if he does a mistake once also and he realizes, he will never ever repeat it. By even unconsciously also he will not repeat it. So when that one mistake he did, when he touched Abhedananji, then Kali, in the Mahashivratri day, they were sitting and third Prahara Puja was going on. Whole night they were sitting in the Kashipur Udyan, where Guru Maharaj was having the cancer treatment going on, everything. So there they were performing this Mahashivratri Puja. And then Narendra was sitting, he was doing the puja, and Kali also, his brother disciple also, was sitting beside him. Then what happened? Then suddenly Narendra felt that so much power is suddenly upsurge of tremendous spiritual power he felt when he was doing the third Prahara Puja, about to begin or something. So he felt, so much power is coming, let me test it. Suddenly he's a young man, so he has a immediate that desire is there. So let me see if I can transfer this power to somebody. So then Kali, he told Kali, you touch me. You sit touching your knee with me, you touch your hand and to my knee or something, and you sit for some time. Then Kali did not know what is going on. He told, okay, Narendra is telling me to touch his leg. So he touched his leg, sitting on the same asana where the puja was going on. So the moment he touched, he felt like electric shocks are passing through his hand. And he lost his, he went into deep meditation, that Kali. Swamiji is sitting here, and then he is passing that power to him, Kali. And Kali went into deep meditation. And he's not coming out at all. He has gone into deep state of this thing. And after some hours, then what happened? In the meantime, Narendra was told by somebody that Sri Ramakrishna is calling you. He has called you there. Oh, in his room he was resting. So as soon as Narendra went there, Sri Ramakrishna he did not say anything, just this thing there. See, the fetus of 6 months you have destroyed. The womb, which was the infant, which the womb which was developing, the baby which was developing in the womb of baby of 6 months, you have destroyed it. But still I will try to protect him. I will try to do something where damage has happened already, but still okay. Something just like this mildly he mentioned. See, this much mild rebuke of Guru Maharaj, Swamiji has learned his lesson for life. Never ever he did that mistake of forcing anything. See, that night he learned the lesson for his life, that I should not, any of my spiritual thoughts, any of these things, I should not pass on forcefully on others. This is what Hindu, same thing he is telling. He is yelling at the top of his voice that, see, this is the greatness of Hindus. That Hindus always say, Vaishnavas, you follow Vishnu, very happy, be happy. Shaivas will say, we follow Shiva. Shaktas will say, we follow Shakti. Everybody is living happily because of this sentiment. That nobody disturbs each other. Nobody forces each other on their own gods. And that's what he is warning. That don't succumb to the Western, these things. They are gods, and because they were tribal gods. They are just racial gods. The Swamiji is going to say further. That their gods are what? Their whole thing is to attain supremacy. The whole goal of Western civilization is to attain supremacy over others. And this is what this thing of Swamiji is Narendranath also, as a young man. So immediately he wants to transfer his power to somebody. And see, supremacy, you see, I am supreme, I have something better, you don't have, so I will transfer it to you. Then what happened? That Abhedananji's, his bhava got distracted. Because he was a Kali, he was practicing in a different way. He was a practitioner of different way of devotion to God he had. The natural tendencies were different. His past sanskaras were different. He was a past master of in yoga. So when Guru Maharaj saw him first time, when Kali came as a boy, he had told, Are, you have almost perfected. This is your last birth, and you were a yogi in your past birth. This remaining thing I will teach you and you will finish. This Kali was already going in a super fast way. He's almost going to reach his ideal, his realization. And that time, Narendranath has forced him into going into different this thing by his spiritual power. Now Guru Maharaj scolded him mildly. Why did you do this? He's 6 months already he's developed that baby in it, and now you have destroyed it. As if there is a this thing. So then Guru Maharaj had to explicitly train Kali to again correctional way. He had to do. Whenever Kali used to talk in some different way, in some which was not his natural bhava, Kali used to behave in some different way, which was not his natural bhava because of after this incident. Then he had to sometimes coach him. Sri Ramakrishna had to sometimes, it is not like that, it is like that. He had to explain him, again bring him back to the original track of Kali. So this he had to take this roundabout way because of this interference that caused. So Swamiji has whole life this followed, and because once in the West when it happened, the Swamiji suddenly he stood talking in front of the audience, and as soon as he starts his lecture, he suddenly stopped and went away. And what happened? Then the lady or the devotee or disciple who had accompanied him, they asked, "What happened, Swamiji? So many people are sitting, waiting for you, and you have suddenly disappeared. What happened?" Then he told that as soon as I stood in front of them, I felt so much power is coming out of me that they will, whatever I tell, they will follow like a dog. I felt if I start speaking, that power will make them follow me like a dog behind me. Whatever I tell, they will. I don't want them to do that. I don't want to make them slaves. That they will just, because of my power, they will just take it. They will be overwhelmed by my power, and they will just accept whatever I am telling, and they will become my slaves of this idea. And I don't want that slavery. You see, everybody should grow in his own way. Everybody should nurture in his own natural evolution. And then after that natural evolution only, involution will be befitting. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. If anything that comes, which you say, prematurely, if any stage of development, if it comes prematurely, then what happens? The development will be hampered. It will be having some defects. So this Swamiji does not want. That's why in the West, when this happened, then Swamiji felt, no. If I start speaking, means they will be wagging their tails like a dog and follow me. So I don't want. Let them grow in their own way. So kind of, he withdrew all his power that was about to come out of him. Because of that incident, probably, we can see that Sri Ramakrishna has warned him, don't force on others what you believe in or what is your power. Because your power is so much that you can do so many things. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Narendra is so powerful that he used to go give hyperbolic praise to Narendra. When Narendra was just a newcomer to Sri Ramakrishna, he used to tell, Narendra is a super powerful yogi, he's a rishi, he has so much power that he can kick the earth. Like that. He is like a superlative terms he used to praise Narendra. And people around him, the devotees used to feel a little awkward, that this is a mere boy who doesn't know what to do. Simply talkative boy, keeps on talking and fighting, quarreling with others and debating with others. And this boy he's telling is so powerful, he is more intelligent than so many people. And the Keshav Chandra Sen, and they have only one part, and he has all 18 powers like that. He used to praise that Keshav Chandra Sen and all those people who were the greatest Pandits of Bengal, who were the greatest leaders of Bengal. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say they are only one part, and Narendra is 18 part. So into 18, like that he used to praise. So the people used to get, probably sometimes they used to get offended also, because those people who are having a lot of admiration for Keshav, they used to feel, why he is praising so much? That Keshav, our adorable Keshav, is only one part, and this immature boy is 18 part, like that he is telling. So they might have felt a little hurt also, probably. And they used to express also sometimes, why he's such an egoistic boy, Narendra is, and Sri Ramakrishna is praising him. So anyway, so what our subject matter is that, why is all these lectures Swamiji is giving, who is standing behind, that also we have to see. We cannot just go and read these lectures, because unless we understand the person who is talking, who is giving that lecture, unless we understand that person, we try to understand. And unless we understand people whom he is giving lectures, both unless we understand, this understanding of this will be just merely intellectual exercise. It will be just a time pass. Unless we know Swamiji, how he was, what is his Swamiji's character is, and unless we know what kind of people were there in front of him, what kind of society was in front of him, what kind of circumstances were in front of him. Unless these two things are reconciled, those lectures from Colombo to Almora will not be entirely standing properly in front of us, explained to us in front. So this is what our approach should be while learning this. So this paragraph I will finish. Then Swamiji says, hands off, let the poor fellow enjoy himself a little. And then he will raise himself up. And renunciation will come to him of itself. You need not force renunciation on him. Hands off, Swami says. Keep your hands away. Don't disturb him. A poor person who is who wants to rise, who wants to become materially wealthy and on his own. Don't disturb him. Hands off. Let him come and let him raise himself. And renunciation will come. After he becomes successful, after he enjoys this, whatever Indian societies, the ideals of Indian societies, the blood of Indian rishis is already flowing in him. That blood will force him to take to renunciation after he is done with his enjoyments. That blood will never allow him to go on getting carried away in these enjoyments. Because even Yayati could not get carried away. Even 1,000 years of life, he got disgusted. He did not tell, okay, another son's life also I want. One son's 1,000 years of life I have already taken. Now I want another 1,000. Then after that another 1,000. Then after that, he could have told like that. But no, why he could not tell? Because after the 1,000 of years of enjoyments, he had realized, what did I do? I am still back to the square one. Again, the same point. After enjoying everything that I could, Yayati is telling, see, nothing. It is like putting ghee into the fire. Whatever I was enjoying, it is nothing but putting ghee into the fire. Like that. So, this will not satiate. Fire will not become extinguished by putting ghee. So, what I was doing, I was trying to extinguish the fire by putting ghee in it. So, Yayati told, thousands of years I was trying to fulfill that desires, enjoyments. And how I was trying to fulfill them? By putting ghee. That fire of enjoyment, fire of desire. So I realize now, this is I am going into a totally wrong direction. So after 1,000 years, he gave up enjoyment. So this same thing, the same sentiment, the same principle, the same crux of the essence of the teaching is that let him raise himself up, and then the renunciation will come to that person. Perhaps in this line, we can be taught something by the Western people. But we must be very cautious in learning these things. Somebody is saying, see, be very cautious. Yes, these Western people may perhaps help you in this material pursuit because you want it, because you are hungry now, because you have no food. So to achieve this food, to grow this food, probably they will help you because they have developed so many things. So you can ready-made take their technology and grow some food and fulfill your hunger. I am sorry to say that most of the examples one meets nowadays of men who have imbibed the Western ideas are more or less failures. So he says, perhaps it would be better, but be cautious. Why be cautious? Because if you totally get enamored by them, it may be disastrous because that it has been a failure. Those people who got enamored by the Western ideas and they got carried away them completely, they were not cautious enough. They did not take only that much which is necessary. They were totally failures, Swamiji said. So what I will advise? I will advise you to take only that much, minimal, just to have your pravritti, just to have your abhyudaya, just to have your progress, just to have your evolution, that which is minimum, which you can import from the Western civilization, that much only you take. Don't get carried away. Don't sell your own house and go to West and settle down in their house. Then what happens? It will be a failure. Keep your house. Keep everything you have. Okay, you may go there For a few years you stayed, few years you earned your money, but again you came back. I'm giving it, not the very gross example. It is just a way of telling it. What Swamiji means is, imbibe only those things, only that much which will not destroy your own basic structure, basic foundation, basic building block. If you destroy your own building and put a Western building in that, your foundation, your ground is not ready. It is not made for the Western building to have a 50, 100-story building. Your foundation has not been made like that. Your foundations were made differently. So now what you did, you demolished your floor. You demolished your first floor, second floors, whatever your house was, and you put a, the 100 and 200 story buildings are there, tower. So like that towers you put. Then what happens? They start moving, they start shaking, those towers, because they are standing on a very different foundation. So that is why don't do this mistake. Just imbibe that much which your foundation can take. Because foundation cannot be destroyed. No? The building can, the above top portion can be destroyed, but the foundation cannot be destroyed. So your foundation is intact. Now build only that much which take from the Western people, only that much knowledge which is necessary to make your life a little more comfortable, little more convenient, so that eventually you can go to involution. Eventually you can end your life by renunciation, because that is what your eternal ancient religion is. Your ancient religion, eternal religion is the religion of renunciation. Whatever it says, it allows you to do whatever you want, but finally you renounce. That is the only condition our religion has. That is the only condition our Indian tradition has. Do whatever you want, but finally come to renunciation. Like Guru Maharaj told, that tying the knot of Advaita to your cloth, do whatever you want. Guru Maharaj, that is what it. Continuously, if you have tied a knot of Advaita, the knowledge of Advaita in your cloth, means what? You are continuously knowing that one day I have to renounce. One day it is all Advaita, it is all one only. Whatever I am seeking, whatever this give and take and everything, it is just temporary. One day it is going to be completely one indivisible Satchidananda, one consciousness only. I am going to achieve it. So with that preparation, if you do the things, then you will end up in a success. But if you leave that, your main ideal, if you lose your ideal, then whatever you do will carry you away. It will be like you are drifted away. You will be lost. You will be a failure. So we will continue this discussion. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Math.